Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Monday, the 18th day of March, 2023. It is Monday of the fifth week of Lent. It is the 30th day of the Lenten season. And coming down the cloister walk is our fourth grade with all of the setup for the scenery for what is going to be Geology Rocks. Geology Rocks, one of our great productions that talk about geology in dramatic form. Ms. Giannini, our fourth grade teacher, basically is a great director as it comes to Geology Rocks, which is this week here at the Franciscan School. And so our fourth graders are getting ready to begin performance of Geology Rocks. And then here we have, I think, second grade perhaps going off to gym. So second grade going off to gym today. So it's a busy day here at the Franciscan School on this Monday of the fifth week of Lent, the 30th day of the Lenten season. 10 days left. I think I have my numbering wrong on a couple of these, but today is the 30th day. 10 days of Lent left. So if you haven't done anything worthwhile during Lent, you still have time to be able to do so. And our sky is beautiful this morning here in Carolina. So our readings for today. The book of Daniel, we have the great saga of Susanna, basically one of the Israelites in exile in Babylon, who is lusted after by some other Israelites, two terrible Israelites. She is the daughter of one of the leading Pharisees, and so or scribes or whatever it is, and there are two other of the administrative officials who desire her, and so they forge a plot to be able to seduce her or whatever it is. It does not work out, and then they decide to cover their tracks by trying to cover up their terrible act that they did and accuse her of making the advancements and adultery and everything else like that, which is punishable again by death. And so Susanna left, in this terrible, awful state of affairs where people are choosing to believe the men over the women, and again, because these men happen to be high officials and have this great standing, they have to be correct in what they are saying, and Susanna is lying. She prays to God, and she prays to God for help, and God hears her prayer, and calls to Daniel. Remember, because this is the book of Daniel. Daniel is in Babylon with everybody else, and Daniel basically says, let's interview each of these men separately. Basically, the simple question is, they see Susanna under a tree. Which tree was it? And they each give, unfortunately, different trees, and that basically is enough to condemn them for their crime, and then they are sentenced to death because that's what you did in those days. But again, a God who hears, a God who rescues, a God who comes to people's aids. There is nothing in here about people having to do penance and having to feel sorry for their sins. Again, there are two evil men who get it in the end, yes. But it is more about this woman who is found in an unjust situation, and who goes to God, and God basically answers her prayer again by using another human being, by using Daniel. And again, it asks us, to consider many times, perhaps in our own lives, in which God has inspired us to speak up, against the roar of the crowd, against again the wrong public opinion about things, to be able to stand up and to speak contrary to what everybody else thinks is the way that things should be. It's the mark of what it means to be a believer in the world in many ways, is that we think differently, we hope differently, we embrace things differently, we respond to things differently. We do not respond as the world does. The world which can respond at knee-jerk reaction, that can respond sometimes without full information about things, can respond with just bits and pieces and ideas of things. That is not what a believer is supposed to do. We are supposed to look more deeply, to think more deeply, to investigate more deeply about what is going on, so that our judgments may be true, and we may indeed come to the rescue and the aid of others who are in need of our rescue and our aid. The gospel for today is similar. Again, it's another woman who is caught in a very dire situation. This is the woman who is caught in adultery. And in John's gospel, she comes, before Jesus, and basically, Jesus is told basically to add in his own judgment, as to whether or not she is guilty of the sin, and she should be stoned, and she should be, destroyed. And again, so she was caught in adultery, yes, but adultery takes two people. Where's the man? The man is never brought into the picture. It is just the woman. Again, a woman who is unfortunately the victim, again, of a society that, picks and chooses, who is in and who is out. But Jesus basically says, it's something that we need to look at. How many other times have we done wrong? How many times have we offended? How many times have we fallen down and make mistakes? And if there's anybody who is without sin, who has never made a mistake, well, then go ahead and throw the first stone. And the scribes and the Pharisees all walk away one by one because they realize that they have no power over here. Now, again, the woman was doing something perhaps that was not in her best interests, but God does not even condemn her. Christ does not condemn her. He basically just tells her to go and to avoid doing this, which is what it is. Simple enough. She doesn't have to climb a mountain. She doesn't have to, carry a sack of stones, on her back for 100 days. She doesn't have to fast on bread and water. She doesn't have to do anything to basically, kind of make up for this terrible thing. It is just to go and know that you have been forgiven. That is how simply God works. That is how wonderfully and gloriously God works in trying to heal us and trying to help us see the more that we are and the more that our lives can offer to us. Continue blessed Lent, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.